Activation code required. Access granted. Warning. Evacuation sequence activated.
We're back. Welcome to the bunker.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining us for another episode of the S-4 Paranormal Bunker. I'm your host, Cole Wigleitner, and with me tonight is my wife, Kayla Wigleitner, Nikki Jacobs, our resident psychic, Rick Persley, and his wife. You know what? I'm going to do this. And his wife, Paula, because she's one of my favorite people. So she's here, too. She just doesn't talk a lot. And Rosella C. Rowe, our resident author. Not, I guess, resident. You're way across on the other side of the goddamn country, so... yeah, and psychic. But I'm going to say our alien author, because she's the only one not in Washington. For him. So thank you very much, guys, for joining us tonight. Tonight we are going to try dream interpretation. Going to take a look at some of our own personal dreams and see what each of us thinks that the other person was trying, their subconscious was trying to say, or if that means anything at that point. So,
control.
Yeah, oh yeah, that works too, friend. So, first off, how's everyone doing tonight?
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Just watching, while I'm sitting here talking to you guys, there's a bar out of Fort Lauderdale that just has a live cam, no audio. So I'm about to turn it off so I don't get distracted. People milling around, just, hey! And so we just sit here and we talk about what they're going on in their lives, and like, oh, this guy's desperately trying to hit on this girl, and she's having none of it. And these old, middle-aged guys are, trying to hit on young women. And, yeah. Anyway, so there's that.
That's actually...
I want to say hello to Kayla.
Oh, hey.
Hi.
How's it going?
Yes, hi.
Oh.
It's been a while.
Welcome back to the land of living.
I was going to tell Rick that that's actually really funny. Because I call that the people game. Okay? And at work, when I get bored, I'll wait for a customer to come in. And I'll jab one of my employees and be like, hey, what's his backstory? And then expect him to make up this whole backstory for this dude and why he's there. It's great.
People watching is ultimately the most fun you can ever have doing anything, because you can, as long as you can't hear them, if they're at a distance, it's far more entertaining. You just sit there and just okay, clearly, just got a basement full of dead bodies. So, or along those lines.
Right. I have one employee that always seems to think everybody just got out of prison. That's why they're there.
Did they just get out of prison?
It's possible. I'm not sure.
You just get out of prison and the first place you go is a goddamn convenience store?
Definitely.
That's sad.
You gotta go somewhere.
Brian. I'd go to a steakhouse.
Well, maybe you don't have enough money left over from your account walking out the door.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh, crab and salmon and yum yum yum. Seafood.
You were just in prison. Rob him.
Whoa! Hey, I do not condone this, and nobody do this.
That's funny.
All right. So, who wants to start it off? Any takers?
Go for it, Rick. Thank you for volunteering.
Ooh, wait, no.
Oh god.
No, I can start.
You're gonna start.
Okay.
Mine completely. I want to make sure I get it. I've got one. I just want to make sure I've got it right.
The deal tonight is we are going to tell you a dream, and it's we can take about 10 minutes to tell it, and then the other people on the panel are going to pick it apart and see what they think. We are not going to advertise when the dream was from, whether it was from last night or whether it was from when you were a kid. You'll probably get a few of them, like a timeline, a little bit of a timeline, just from some of the parts that are in it.
Content.
Yeah. So mine, it starts out with me in my high school. I am walking through the halls, and I am dressed normally, as I normally do, except for I can feel the weight of a gun in my back, the back of my pants. As I walk down the halls, I can hear shots firing off. I start running, and as I come around the corner right by the office, the principal's offices, I see two shooters. Both with semi-automatic weapons. I pull the gun out of my hand, or out of my the back of my pants, and I am holding a 9mm. I take 2 shots at them. They shoot back, and we start firing at each other. I take them both out and continue on. At this point, I do not know why I am running what I'm running towards. I continue up the stairs to the second floor of the high school and come upon a bunch of other people as I cross each classroom, and they are all holding the same weapons. I take everyone out as I go along. I get to the last person, and he is in the second floor bathroom, and for some reason I can't see his face. So I go to fire, and there's no bullets left in the gun. Out of nowhere, for no freaking reason whatsoever, because I don't remember having this at the beginning of the dream, I pull out a samurai sword out of my off my side, and I proceed to slice him twice, killing him. I turn around to make sure there's nothing behind me, turn back, and it's my son. And I wake up and the dream ends.
The son's the one you killed?
Yep. And I'm pretty sure every one of you can guess which one.
John?
Yeah.
Yikes.
So,
It's like your worst fear is coming alive. But I literally have a degree in dream interpretation, so I don't think you're going to get that much more for me.
The thing I will tell you is the John that I killed is about 2 years old.
He's only 2?
Yeah.
What was a baby doing in high school?
Have no freaking
Come
clue.
on now. Okay.
That just proves it's your worst fears coming alive. Everybody get your gun. It's high school, that kind of thing.
Well,
I mean, my generation, you were Columbine.
yeah. Cole, weren't you in high school when Columbine happened?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I'm not scared of that.
Okay.
But you're worried about...
No, but subconsciously, like, it could be something about you worrying about the kids going to high school now, and the fact that there's high school shootings, and your worst fear would be that one of your kids would die in a high school shooting, so by making you the shooter, it gives you that, you know?
Yeah, it gives you the power in a way, to protect yourself, but then you can't overall in the end protect your child. And that's why they're resembled as a 2-year-old.
Right, and that's like your worst fear coming to life.
Why would the weapon change?
Yeah.
Why would the weapon change?
Because it's John, and John's into samurai swords. It's another connection with your kid. Like,
Plus, like if you run out of bullets, that's your worst fear, and then you have to grab something. So, your subconscious is grabbing something symbolic. Yeah. No, it totally makes sense. I mean, honestly, we had a scare here that we got a call, and the call from the junior high / high school acted like there was something that actually happened at the school, even though it was like somebody triggered a button saying there was a shooter, but there was not a shooter. So the whole school went on lockdown, and all these horrible things happened because of we thought there was a shooter kind of thing in the school, where the children even ran out, were hiding in the graveyard that's behind the school, and terrified. And there's this girl who created a blog all about what happened that day to over 40 students from their actual experiences. I mean, it's horrific what it does to your whole mind, that fight or flight mode. And then once that happened, my mother actually was here. She was visiting, and I had a horrible breakdown. I was on my knees, screaming and crying, as soon as I got the call, which is not my normal reaction at all. And my mother said that she always knew I was traumatized by what happened at Columbine. And I don't know about you guys, but in school, they made us watch CNN every single day. So all you were watching was children get shot hanging out windows. It was horrible. All it was constant footage of that shooting and what they had every single day. So scared the hell out of me. And I suppressed it, and then it came all out that day. I think that literally is coming out through your dream.
Okay, I gotta share Paula's interpretation here. She says, I feel like dreaming about killing your child could reflect guilt or fear that has recently surfaced in your life. It could also mean that you are struggling with a truth that you can't face in waking life. For example, you might be scared of losing what you have now as a father, or you might be struggling with the fact that you are not getting back the life you had before.
well, quit it.
Well, no, I will tell you guys, Paul is the closest.
Lack of control is the first thing I thought of.
You worried that your kids are growing older and gonna move away?
I have complete control over that. That sounds horrible. Hold on. That doesn't mean I'm going to kill my kids.
Oh my god. This is like a Peter Pan moment. I don't like it.
Yeah. They're all lost boys now. No. Okay, so here's the deal. This dream happened when John was a toddler.
Okay.
It was in that White House.
Oh, yeah. That White House was creepy.
So, he wasn't in school yet. Neither was Hunter. we weren't even thinking about putting them in school.
Well, they would have been 2 and 1.
I mean, yeah.
Now, Paula is correct. At that point, I was struggling with the fact that part of my life had ended. And at that point, it was the most exciting part. We had just shut down our racetrack that I had built with friends. And it would have been the last time, it was going to be the last time I would ever get the chance to step into a car and race.
Okay.
And I think in part of it, I was subconsciously, I was thinking that my kids were taking that from me. But knowing what I did to him in the dream, when I woke up, I was in absolute tears. I love the fact that, like, we all took a different path in viewing how that would go depending on what era of your life you're in. That's amazing. Friend, the way you 3 took it immediately, your mama bear immediately came out. I don't know if any of you noticed that. Friend, because you just put yourselves in that situation instead of me. Friend.
Yeah.
But
Well, yeah, you just killed my kid. Even in a dream, that's fucked up, Cole.
No, I agreed with her. I agreed with her. I think that it's like, honestly, if you don't know the time of life that person has it, that's why I said, like before the show, in a way, it's going to change. Because you're going to go look at it as, okay, this is what I know about who you are. And, then I'm looking at it from a parent perspective. I don't know about Mama Bear. I think it's just parent perspective, to me, in my opinion.
I would still say Mama Bear because I don't think guys have that as much.
I think it depends on the person.
Yeah. My husband, he would probably dream something like very close to that. Yeah.
But our instinct is more to set them up to protect themselves, not. That's what we're taught as guys in society, is to set our kids up to protect themselves in situations. We want to let them make mistakes. The Mama Bear idea is for them to go out and bubble wrap.
Okay, that's... okay, sure.
Friend. And not so much bubble wrap, but do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
You guys are the ones to take in a nuclear home. You, the women, are the ones to apply a bandage. You are the nurturer.
Okay, so you're saying that the dude's like, rub some dirt in it, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was. You know that.
Yeah, I know you were.
Friend, and I think both are needed, but.
Paula says, I feel like dreaming about killing your child could reflect guilt or fear, and I agree that. I mean, I think that also is a part of it, a big part of it.
Friend.
But, like it said, it's different interpretations, different person.
Exactly. Friend. And that's kind of what we want here. It gives our listeners a chance to view how we each would interpret this, and to see. That one was more of an example for you guys. I do have others, so friend. That one was the most traumatic, though. The rest of mine are kind of just really messed up. Not as messed up as Kayla's dreams, but friend.
My dreams are weird. I don't know.
So, anyone else got one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yay.
You made me think of one.
After that, who couldn't, right?
Well, I still can't think of any others, but I got this one. For whatever reason, it reminded me of it. First of all, can you hear me properly?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
Nikki.
Okay, good. So in the dream, I was at an elementary school observing, standing by a set of swings. And they're obviously playground swings, and basically, so you've got the old-fashioned kind, with the really thick 4-inch metal pipes. So you've got 4 of those and about 5 or 6 swings. One of them being a tire swing, and I'm watching from probably 40 feet away. And there's kids, not very many kids, but kids out on the playground. And I look over, and I'm kind of just watching. I'm standing there, kind of in the corner of this section of the playground, just watching. And the next thing I realize, I'm focused on, here's this little girl on a tire swing. And I'm like, God, she's young. And then I'm like, I remember thinking she's young. And I remember thinking, why would I think that? Did not recognize her. And she's just typically the stereotypical kid on a swing. And I can't figure out why I'm standing there watching her. And the next thing she does is she's on the tire swing, and the tire swing lifts up. She was in the process of putting her feet across from her on the tire swing so that she could put her knees up and her feet in the actual tire. And she missed. And she misses one leg, and so she's in the process of coming up, so it'd be ahead of her, which is how the swing was going. And she comes back, and as she comes back, she's in the process of missing one of her legs. So one leg is wedged in the tire itself. And she's in the process, as she's coming back on the swing, coming back up, but towards me this time. And her leg goes down, and for whatever reason, she can't get it up in time. And the front of her foot hits it wasn't cement underneath, it was bark. It was a specific kind of bark. I just can't think. It was rubber, and then you've got bark on top of it. And her foot that's down hits the wood chips and shatters. Her leg shatters in half. And there's bone sticking out. No blood in the dream, but a lot of bone sticking out. And I remember standing there with my hands over my mouth going, oh my God. And this kid is screaming, and she was first or second grade. Can't remember which in the dream. And that was the dream. That was the last thing I remember from the dream, is my hands coming up to my face and me literally saying, oh my God. That's the dream.
So, first off, I'm going to say, with you and Rosella, this is going to be harder for us. For one reason. You guys are psychics. Therefore, it's very hard to interpret whether the girl is alive.
Not only that, but whether or not it's somebody else imposing something on you in your dream versus...
Yeah. Right. I thought of that too.
That actually really, really weirds me out, though. Okay, because I was just, like, sitting here, and I looked at Cole, and I'm like, what the hell? Because... No, okay. Because a couple, like, what was it, 2 weeks ago?
No,
a week ago. Okay, my, one of my coworkers called out because she was playing with her daughter on a tire swing at a park. And it hit her leg when she was pushing and broke it. So she ended up not being able to come into work because her leg was broken. And I was like, I feel like I've heard this before.
That is so weird. I mean, I thought right away, like, just because of my gift, like, you're watching someone else's life.
Well...
So that explains a lot.
Nikki has also went through a lot in her life.
Yes.
That's an understatement.
So if that's the thing. If this
I'm
is
still going through it.
a personal dream, the fact that you stood off to the sidelines with your hands covering your mouth
And not running.
could be having.
I'm a person of action. Doesn't matter what age I am. I have always been a person of action. So if somebody's in trouble, I run to help, even in my dreams. So the fact that where the dream ended and my hands are over my mouth just shocked me. Because normally I would be, I'd be right there going, okay, what do we need to do? What do we need to stop the bleeding? What needs to happen here?
But at that point in your life, were you seeing a lot of visions or seeing a lot of stuff that you had no control over, so therefore in your dream you didn't have control?
Ooh.
I was, at that time in my life, things in my life had finally started to calm down.
Okay.
And so I think what had happened is I'd gotten relaxed enough, and that this popped up.
So if things are starting to calm down, that could be a sense of fear that at any point in time, no matter what you do, it can lose control again, and it's your fear of freezing without control over the things around you.
Either that, or symbolically you could also be the child and have a fear of the fact that at any point something else catastrophic could go wrong and that you'd have no control over whether or not it did. And you'd be like sitting on the sidelines going, shit, instead of being able to,
Yeah.
If you were looking at yourself from a third party in a dream, I still feel like both of you would be screaming if you were the child in the dream. So the adult Nikki and the child would be screaming at the same time, because I have broken my leg. I shattered my leg. There's no way you don't scream. I know this. That hurts like hell.
I've broken toes before, so that's not fun. It's very painful.
Friend,
I don't break. Sorry.
That's because of the alien, honey. Friend. Rick, what do you think?
What do I think? Well, the expert, dream interpreter I am, I try, I spend so much time analyze or trying to figure out Paula's dreams that my brain gets kind of blown out. So I feel like all I do is upset her. So that part of it, I'm not really comfortable. I think ultimately at the end of the day, it's all a reflection of what our inner. Mine's always been, and this is not me being a good. And I tend to think it's the things we see, the things that we remember, things that trigger our memory, things that are sort of like, okay, so you're watching a TV show and you see something that reminds you of something and you sort of process it. You're like, oh, or stuff that happens to you like a month beforehand and your subconscious doesn't process it at the time. So it sort of just shoves it away, and then somehow it gets interpreted, runs into this blender and shoots out into your brain at night while you're... I say that now, and my dream is not going to make... It doesn't... Nothing applies to it, that particular theory. So,
Okay.
Yeah. But, so, yes, if you need somebody to go next, I will go.
Well, Rosella, how about you? What do you think?
I think that she was watching what kind of Kayla was describing and then felt helpless on the sidelines because she was watching, and she, as a mother protection kind of, just innate nurturing, you want to be a part of that action. When she said she was on the sidelines and not moving, I know her well enough to know that if it was her, she would be in action quick. We're a lot alike, so I'm a little spoiled for knowing that much. But I just think that she was watching somebody else and felt helpless that she couldn't help and she couldn't stop it. But as a psychic medium, and having the same kind of gifts as well, like that, we talk about how we kind of feel helpless a lot when we watch other people, and we have these kind of beings come to our minds through our dreams, like visions. Like that, even when we're awake and we feel like we can't, do anything to help the person. And it just feels like you feel a lot of guilt, remorse, sadness, and just helpless. So that's what I think.
Okay.
Okay.
So
I'm gonna know what happened.
Well, hold on. I'm going to give you a pulse. So this dream of yours was traumatic for me to hear because when my granddaughter was 6, she broke her leg horribly in a trampoline accident. I will never forget the sickening look of her leg or the horrible shock and terror on her mom's face, my eldest daughter. Happy side note, she's in her 13 now and she has a great team had a great team at Children's and healed fully and grew normally. I've read that seeing someone else's accident are an auspicious sign and that you should avoid starting new work, or that dreams about children in danger can symbolize an idea that is important to you that you are trying to develop.
Interesting.
Well, she has a very good point, Nikki, on the last one.
I know.
I'm like, whoa, nail on the head there.
So tell us, Nikki, was any of this reality?
Nikki.
Oh, it was a
we have a talk show host.
Right.
It was a very real dream. The difference is that I wasn't an adult when I had it. I was in 5th grade at the time, and it actually happened the following day at school.
Fucking figured. God damn it.
Now, here's the thing. I was not in the corner. I was in the playground. I was literally 20 feet from the swing set on a different set of play equipment that was brand new that year. The swing had been there practically since the school had been built. So it was like the original swing set. And the little girl I was watching from the V, the upside down letter V of the bars. And so that was my perspective when I actually saw it happen. I literally I turned and I saw this little girl on the swing from my vantage point in real life. And I thought, well, that's weird. And I looked back at a friend of mine who was, if I remember correctly, she was off to my left. And I made a comment to her. I don't remember what I said, but I made some comment to her. And the next thing I hear is this little girl screaming her head off. My friend and I go running. One of the teachers who was doing recess duty, because this was at lunchtime, if I remember correctly, came running. I mean, and you didn't see this woman run very often, but I mean, she came. And she was very fast. So an adult came over, and the adult yelled for one of the kids who was closest to the main door of the school building, because it was a 3-story school building. Told to call 911, let them know that they had an injured child, severely injured, needed to go to the hospital. And we were like, what can we do? And she's like, you can't do anything. And that's when I saw the leg. And it wasn't as severe as what my dream showed me, but below her knee, quite a ways. So it was the bone between her knee and her ankle, and it was the front bone. I can't think what that front bone is called at the second, and it's
Femur.
the one that femur. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the one, and it literally shattered and broke out and broke the skin, came up through the skin and out through her jeans.
Oh, wow. That is
And
a mad break.
That is what I saw in my dream. That is what I saw with this child's. And let me tell you, as a 5th grader, that freaked me out.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the only time that I'd ever told any of my friends about the dream before. And of course, that made a beeline around school because she didn't keep it to herself. But I was freaked out, and it was the only time I'd ever talked about abilities, gifts, anything.
So in that case, do you think your silence in your dream could have been the fact that you subconsciously were telling yourself not to tell anybody so that people
Probably.
weren't, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. It's highly likely.
Yep.
But see, that's not what I registered as a 5th grader. What I registered, oh my God, I just had this dream. What the hell is this? And then it happens literally right in front of me. I mean, I'd had dreams before, but not to where the following day, many hours later, it actually happened.
Like you've had pathetic dreams, but it was like way out versus right now.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, and too, I think we've talked about this, with my vision started like as dreams at the very beginning, too.
Yeah. I understand that. So, yeah, that's it's a heck of a dream, let me tell you.
No kidding.
Yeah.
And as far as I know, because this girl, she was 1st or 2nd grade. I keep thinking that she was 2nd grade, but it doesn't jive with my brain quite right. So I think, anyway, so somewhere 1st or 2nd grade, and because she was so little, and obviously different clothing than the dream, except for the jeans. The jeans were the same, which I was like, oh, where did that, I look back at that later, years later. That's just, okay, wow. So, yeah, makes life interesting.
I was very fucking upset when they cut off my jeans. Because I didn't the bone didn't poke through on mine. It just shattered inside the leg.
Ugh.
And that was $100 pair of fucking jeans.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Dude, your leg swelled up so bad that they had to. Otherwise, it would have cut circulation off to everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be worth the $100. God damn it. I love those jeans.
I know, I was a little upset too.
All right, Rick.
All right. So I had the part of. Okay, I'll be honest. It wasn't that I wasn't listening to Nikki intentionally. It was that I was trying to put my dream together because I didn't do the show prep I was supposed to have done because I was having the issues. So.
So you took a nap for 5 minutes?
I was scrambling desperately to try to I remember this, but see, my dreams are most of them vanish into the ether immediately. I cannot remember dreams 90% of the time. The ones I do, I have one from when I was a little kid where, and all I remember about it is that I was at. And I thought for the longest time that I actually done it. But I had gone to a general store with my grandfather, and they where they have all the candy in the jar, like you go into a candy store. But it was like a general store, except they had a little candy section. You pull the lids off, and you pick out your candy, and you know. And so I thought, but I remember walking out the door, and there was a one of the old river boats, the paddle wheelers, and it was summertime, and I was like, oh. And I remember I asked my grandfather about it like a week or two later. I remembered it as a kid. I'm a kid, and I had to dream as a kid, and I asked him about it. He said, I don't know what you're talking about. We've never been anywhere like that. And I'm like, that's weird, but it seemed so real, so it must have, obviously it was a dream, but it was probably from watching TV. Probably watched some Huck Finn or something or other. Anyway, so my dream, the one that I do remember, and I remember specifically, and what it amounts to is, okay, and I've got to write all this down to remember it exactly. Okay, so I'm not a kid because I'm working at my. The dream is I'm working at my old TV job in Waco. Okay. It's the same TV station. Everything about it is identical, down to the area I worked in, all of it. With the exception of all the people are different. They're different personalities, they look different, but to me in the dream, they felt like it was these are the same people that I spent 3 years with, and on a daily basis, and we all hung out together and everything else. And I'm having small talk with them about things. I couldn't tell you what small talk was, but I remember having it, and it was just seeming like it was just regular. And then I remember being in the dream, and because it cut all of a sudden. I'm at my parents' house. And this is the house I grew up in the little neighborhood I grew up in. And I walk in the door. I'm still the same age. I've walked in the door. I don't live there. I'm in to visit, because that's what I would do. I would come in to visit on the weekends. And I walk in the door, and my brother's sitting in the living room watching television. But he's not my brother. It's not my brothering. It's the same thing. I hear my mom in the kitchen, but it's not my mom. It's not her voice. I talk to her for a few minutes. I go outside. I need to talk to my dad about something about my vehicle, which I did, because there was usually something wrong with whatever I was driving. And I go out, and it's not my dad. And I'm freaked out about all of this. Well, I wasn't until I woke up, but everything seemed normal. It just seemed like, after I woke up and looking back at it, it just seemed like everything was the way it was supposed to be, except it isn't the same. It's not the people. It's not my family. And then I tell my mom, I'm like, okay, well, I'm going, because Saturday nights I'd go bowling with my friends when I'd come in to visit, like we always did. And I'm suddenly I'm at the bowling alley, and it's, again, same bowling alley. Everything like it was. Not my friends. Totally different personalities. Not even, with them, it's not even the same skin colors. And then I wake up. I mean, I have small talk with them. The dream's going on, and then it was just I woke up. So, but I remember it being so jarring because it was. You wake up and you're like, "What's going on?" And it took me a minute to process that I wasn't in that reality, or I wasn't in that dream anymore. I wasn't where I was. I thought I was somewhere. I thought that was me, and then you wake up and it took me a minute or two to process that, oh yeah, this is my reality. So, and that's it. I know it's not very exciting. And I will preface this finish it up by saying, since that first one, I've had this happen multiple times. It blocks out everything. It just, everybody's always different. And in some cases, it's not even like things and places I've been at, but it's like I'm in a different, like I'm living an alternate life.
Ooh. Hey, and are the people in that alternate life, in that dream, are they the same all the time, or are they different?
No, they're different.
Different.
They're always, yeah. The first time it was like they were doppelgangers, but they weren't.
Okay.
Like they had different personalities, but it was like I recognized them as being, like my brain was trying to, my subconscious was trying to
put them into somebody's shoes.
Yeah, I was trying to put it into a reference point that I would have, but it's like, but it wasn't. They were not. They didn't behave and act the same way. I'm around, basically, when I'm working at the TV job, I'm around a bunch of high schoolers, with the exception of one gal who was my age. So we're almost 30, and they're in their 20s. So they're early 20s, and right out of high school. So yeah, so you would think, okay, well, that should all. It's not. They're roughly the same ages. They're roughly, but it's not. They're not. They do different things. I just remember it being like, this is just, and that's why I hung on to the dream, that one particular one, because I had never experienced anything like it before. So it just, because I've had the dreams where like, okay, I remember things are a little bit different, but like when I was happier times when you're a teenager. Like for me, it was happier times for me.
Yeah.
I didn't have any worries. I didn't have anything else. My friends were my life, and I spent so much time just hanging out, playing basketball and sports and watching TV and movies. I grew up in the 80s, and everything was great. And I've had those dreams, and everybody's there. And some of the situations are a little bit different, or something that's happened in my modern life is like manifested in like younger version. But this was so off, like I said, alternate universe, like it was a different me almost.
So I'm gonna say, Rick, that this one happened after some kind of betrayal, and I think I know what it is, but I'm not going to say that on air, Fran. So, not necessarily betrayal, but a shift in your life, and it almost seems like you didn't know who to trust anymore.
No, it's not. No, well,
no.
It yeah, well, I don't know specifically. I know I've told you enough stories. I don't know which, because I have do a couple of betrayals, but
Yeah.
yeah. So I'll just say for the moment that I don't necessarily think it was. Doesn't. I don't think the timeline jibes with it, but we shall see.
It almost seems like your subconscious was trying to wrestle with the idea that you didn't know who was showing their true colors.
Yeah, it could be. You could be onto the right. I think you might be onto the right track, but the wrong person potentially doing it. So we'll see. Let's see. Yeah.
So this is gonna sound really weird, okay? But sometimes I think that, like, the TV station was a safe zone. Like, subconsciously in your mind, the TV station was like a safe zone. Like something you knew, like the back of your hand.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
And I really do think that sometimes our subconscious will pull us into almost all... Oh, God, how do I put that? Past lives, sometimes, into different people's perspectives on different things, and maybe this was your way of putting thoughts about a past life into a safe space so that you could try to understand it.
Potentially, it could very well have been. And that's as good an explanation as I've had for it, because and it jives with what I was just talking about with the whole having the dreams where, it's like I go back to the places I feel most safe and comfortable, where 80s or my childhood. Well, I mean, as an adult, as I grew up, I mean, things moved on, and the TV station would definitely have fallen into that, because I worked at 2 TV stations in Waco, and I never have dreams about the first one, even though I had more, which is funny because I had more stuff that was out of the ordinary happen, like almost getting in the fist fight with the weatherman like 3 different occasions. That's pretty significant. You think that would show up in a dream occasionally, but no. It's just the generic sort of, but it's the happy stuff. That's the stuff I remember. It was this, because that was right after I started working at that job when I was married to the first wife. And then we divorced during the process of it. But those people were all there for me during that. So it is a safe space, or it was a safe space. So, yeah.
Because I think any time that we're trying to wrestle with something, of like thoughts about anything, we always pull ourselves into our safe space so that we know like what to expect. Like that's one thing that we kind of have control over in our dreams or even in our reality, is that we have our spaces that you're comfortable enough with to bring in the thoughts of other things. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes about as good sense. Like I said, I got no answers for it, so that sounds good to me.
I've never wrestled a bear, but I don't think there's a safe space there.
It's called a zoo in a lot of bars in between the two of you. Safe.
Yeah, but if you're going into the bars to wrestle them,
well,
you're not safe.
You're screwed.
Right. Nikki, what do you think?
Uh-oh. So Nikki tuned out. To be fair, she was the it. So
I was the one who what?
I was just saying, because I'd apologize to you, because while you were telling your dream, I was sitting there desperately trying to like write down the little notes I could go back to for my dream. So because I hadn't prepped earlier in the show, or for the show, because what we talked about before the show started.
Yeah, I understand.
So I felt bad about that, so I was like,
No, and I've been sitting here writing little notes too, but not for that. I'm in the process of moving, so I'm like trying to. Anyway, I apologize to you.
Oh, that's fine.
I don't have a lot. I do agree that that the location was a safe spot, safe zone. But the other, I can't quite I don't know why, but I can't quite wrap my brain around it. And that's kind of how I've been tonight. So,
Yeah.
so I apologize. I seriously apologize because I can't seem to.
Oh,
But
don't feel bad.
I do completely agree that the location was a safe place.
Yeah.
For some specific reason, it's a safe place. I agree.
I mean, I agree with, Nikki and, Kayla as well. So, I mean, I just think that, like it was a safe thing. I don't know. I think that the confusion between like kind of the doppelganger kind of thing just seemed to throw it off. Like maybe I think your brain was in a way confused between growing up and, turning into an adult in a way, like where your safe place is anymore, because maybe that's why it changed. Where you said your mother didn't sound like your mother.
Right.
That kind of thing. Usually that is symbolic of the changes that we go through and the trust issues that we have literally in life. So just trusting, like, is this really my mother, or is this like a stranger danger? Is this person going to hurt me, imitate my parent? Especially too with nowadays, like even, I don't know if I might have missed if you said the time frame that you had it in, but like scammers and stuff like that, just trusting. So it's really my mother, that kind of thing. So I think it's that combination. That's my 2 cents.
Okay.
Rick, what is the in that dream for you? What was the biggest piece that you held on to emotionally?
Well, see, that's the hard part, because emotionally, it was waking. Once I figured out where I was when I actually woke up, and I realized I was back where where I was supposed to be.
Yeah.
It just all of it threw me, because it seemed so strange to me. Like it all felt, like I said, it felt like it should be like the safe space thing. Exactly. It that's what it felt like. If I was, when I was trying to think of it, I was trying to think, okay, is this what I was going through? But I couldn't get my head around the fact that nobody. We're talking, like I said, with my friends at the bowling alley. We're different races for two of them. Like, these two guys in real life are white. And one's Mexican and one's a black guy. Now, I tried to think at the time, okay, and I know what you said, well, are you working around somebody, or did you know somebody, two of those, that would, so these people would have taken over for the other two. Except, no. And I even tried to think, okay, well, did I slip a couple of people from high school that I went to high school with and tried to, but I recognize those people. I know they were two totally different people. They acted differently. Everybody in the dream was who they were. In other words, it was the right amount of people. Like, I have a mom, a dad, and a brother. I had a mom, a dad, and a brother. But the house was right. But they weren't. It was just different. Yeah. It was, my mom didn't look like my mom. My brother didn't look like my brother. Dad didn't look like, nobody I worked with at the television station looked like who they were. My friends didn't look, they weren't to the point where they weren't even the right race.
Did they have button eyes?
No. But that would be cool. Then I really would have been freaked out.
God, yeah, I was like, that was... Hell, I'd be screaming.
Right.
The googly eyes would have been better. So I'll just go ahead. This happened, the dream, the first one actually happened it was right after the first of the year, right after Lovey died. So that would have been 23, right, Paula? So January of 23, somewhere about middle of the month. I can't remember for sure, but it was in January. I remember it because it was cold. But the betrayal thing, I would put it on it, and it may have been. See, this is right about the time where the apartment issues are coming to a fore, where we're getting ready. That we don't know it yet. We didn't know for another month that we were going to move. And then her parents, we had who were living with us. They decided to go a different. They moved off to themselves. We'd been living together. They brought them in. They moved up without any plan, and we took them in, and we'd lived with them for almost 5 years, and then they just took off. And it sort of that felt like betrayal. But the thing is, I had that dream before the betrayal. That's why when Cole brought it up about the betrayal, I thought, well, that could be, but no, the time doesn't match up on it. So yeah, it just happened in 23. So, and then after that, it started happening on a regular basis. Except now, I have these like once a week where I have, because I tell Paula every time I wake up from one, nope, spend another. I couldn't tell you. As soon as I wake up, I don't remember anything other than I don't know anybody in the dream. And now it's none of the situations. It's like I'm in an alternate universe as an alternate me. Like I'm going into it, whoever it is. If there's an alternate Rick somewhere, if there are multiple universes, I'm trading places with this guy at night.
Is he a pickle?
And he's got to be jarred going, why am I in the middle of concrete in a cabin with no running water? So, because, and it's different. Every time it happens, it's a different situation. I don't work in, none of the jobs I seem to work at seem familiar when I wake up. The people aren't familiar. Every single time I take that away from it, is that it's like I'm working somewhere, so I go to sleep and then I actually go to a job. That's what it feels like.
Interesting.
So I don't. So yeah, I mean, we were under a lot of stress. Paula was going through a lot during that period of time. That we had a lot going on with a child.
People.
Yeah, one of our people, and we lost our cat, and that was her best friend, which I thought I was, but I learned the cat was. she's still heartbroken.
Our fur babies are our fur babies. They are. Hello, family.
I when that cat died, and she had it for 16 years. I just had it for 8. My time with it, and but yeah, so there was a lot of weirdness. I mean, there was a lot of stress going on at that point, but we didn't even. It was going to get a lot more stressful, and so yeah, and now it's just it just is this regular thing where it's like, okay, why am I living this other person's life? But I don't, because that's what it feels like. It feels like I'm somebody else's body living another life. There's no Paula. There's my son's not in it. None of y'all, none of my closest friends from when I was growing up, none of my closest friends now. You would think subconscious people I run into at the grocery store or, nothing. Not our cats aren't in it. Nothing. None of my former pets, none of my former friends, nobody. It's just weird.
Interesting.
It happens about once.
Robert.
It's Robert.
Hey, buddy.
Hey.
Hi. That goes, everyone.
Do you know which ones I hate the most?
Good.
You know those dreams where everything is kind of the same, but not exactly? And then you wake up, and you have to shake the cobwebs out to know if it's real?
Yeah.
And then go for about 15 minutes, and all of a sudden you wake up again?
Oh.
Oh my God, stop it!
I've gotten to the point where, like, me and Kayla have these on a regular basis, and I will come to the front door where Kayla's already smoking, and I will poke her in the cheek. And if she yells at me, I'm awake. If she says, I love you, I'm not awake yet.
Oh my God.
Still my dream, you
Conversation there.
I'm just saying that.
You're literally having those movie dreams where there'll be like somebody is like there's a bad guy, a serial killer, or evil things trying to kill the heroine.
Yeah, it's reminding me of that one.
And then the thing pops up again. You're like, and then they wake up again, and it's like,
Don't you hate those when you're watching paranormal shows too, and you're like, oh God, just get the dream over with. Come on, this isn't real. Am I the only one that happens to? I get so ticked at that. I'm like, no, don't put it on unless it's real, okay? Part of the story or not.
We think this has happened, so we'll play a clip of what we think has happened, and
yeah, and add more time.
I'm going to break in with Paula has written down a dream for us.
Oh.
okay.
Okay?
Okay.
So, I'm going to read this as her.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Yeah. Well, no, not like that, Rick. Like, I'm not going to go that high voice or anything.
In a place I lived.
I am in a place I used to live.
That sounds nothing like her.
And still married to my ex-husband. My 6 children are all there and are younger than they are now. I am about 40 years old in the dream and have no pain or health problems and can walk normally. I have 2 extra children that are very young, a 1 to 2-year-old and a newborn. The newborn is a girl and is about the size of a very small baby doll, 12 inches long. I walk from the huge white farmhouse that we are living in. This is not a house I know. Into town, and I'm at a church and run into my favorite pastor I haven't seen in 2 decades, and he might have passed away. For some reason, I roll a hard-boiled egg under his piano bench, and he notices it, and we have a big laugh about it. He then proceeds to give me a giant down puffy jacket, and then 2 women from my old church appear. These 2 women are passed on, by the way, and have gifts for me like food and stuff. We all walk to my house, and the kids and my husband are happy and start visiting with them and eating the goodies. I go into another room with a tiny baby, and I hear gunshots from the other room. 2 or 3 bad guys with long guns come into the room and aim at me. In the dream, I feel the terror, and I'm desperate to get away. I grab the gun with my bare hand. The other hand is holding the tiny baby, and I am so strong that I twist it into a pretzel shape. It takes all my strength. I run out the back door with the tiny baby and can't think about who might have been shot in the other room where everyone was, so I force myself awake. I wake up crying, breathing hard, upset, terrified, etc. I feel this dream physically for a good half hour until I calm myself down. Side note, the tiny baby reappeared the next day in another bizarre dream where she was allergic to me and the doctors were trying to figure it out. Other side note, I have nightmares 1 to 2 times a week, and I always have to wake myself up, and I'm physically feeling everything. My adrenaline and cortisol are off the charts, laugh out loud. I sometimes scream and wake up and scare Rick.
Yep.
Okay.
I'd say it's more often than...
Wow, that's a lot.
Well,
yeah.
I was just going to say real quick, I'll just throw in, like, the walking, the trailer thing is from when you were living down in Cedar Woolley, isn't it? It's not? It doesn't look like that? Okay, never mind. She told me a story but you had to walk yourself to the emergency room when you were pregnant. And from that, okay, so
Okay.
also place on Lopez, but you sure you're just not combining the 2 possibly? Because that would have been about the right age time for the children, it sounds like. But so yeah, there was something that happened. She lived in a place similar to where they were at in Cedar Woolley, down on Cook Road, headed out towards the interstate. So I think she's combining that place with Lopez Island. Other than that, that's where I stopped.
I gotta be honest, for me, what it feels like is that everyone that's in your dream up until the point where the bad guys break in are people that meant something to you, and that were like security and comfort for you.
Right.
And the fact that you have all your children there is also a security and comfort for you. And the fact that you're taking care of a baby, whether or not the baby was one of your actual children, it would symbolize you as a younger person taking care of one of your children and protecting them with your life. Like that you would do anything for them. And the fact that somebody came in and ripped that all apart and made it crazy and everything else is probably might have something to do with how you were feeling. Like that maybe a life event happened at that point or something and it just kind of ripped up the world around you. So subconsciously that's how you see it, as like these people from the outside, these bad dudes coming in and just tearing everything apart.
I agree completely. Yeah. I mean,
Well,
it seems like these people are, really meant a lot. That was your safe place, that kind of thing. And then, like you are a mother, so symbolically protecting, you're used to protecting your children. And at the time you felt like you couldn't, maybe, something did happen to a child during this time where you had it. And then the side note of the baby reappears later and the child is allergic to you. I mean, it seems like there's something maybe going on with that particular child symbolically in here.
I would like to say that the idea of having, of hearing the gunshots in another room, not knowing what happened, but feeling desperate to get away. Paula, in reality, that sounds like you do a T. Things happen in your life, and you sometimes are, you take flight. And there's nothing wrong with that. But the fact that you took a gun and twisted it into a pretzel, I think that's your subconscious telling you that you had the strength to get away.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think that's something you should be proud of. Like, not... I know this dream is terrifying for you, but I think you should also be proud that you have it a little bit. Because the idea that you were able to get away from some of the things you've lived through in your life is amazing. And we can't always control, like you say, where you couldn't go back and find out what happened to in the other room. Sometimes we can't.
Yeah.
Right, and then you're kind of traumatically scarred.
Yeah.
Because you can't, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, okay, how I view it is it's a kind of like a wannabe situation. I don't know quite how to explain that. Just a second. So in real life, there's turmoil in real life, and in the dream, you've got the safety and security. Then that safety and security is completely annihilated. It's completely gone. And I agree with Cole regarding the weapon that was turned into a pretzel. To me, that says you're stronger than you realize and that you give yourself credit for. And that you can get through. And it's you reminding you that I can do this. I really can do this. I can really get through this. You survived. And I think it shows that you're a survivor and you've got a good head on your shoulders. So it's getting through the emotional part of whatever the turmoil is. So it's, and what I mean by a wannabe situation is that it's the situation that you want with the kids. All the kids, you want them together. You want them happy, healthy, mentally well, have a mentally well-being, and then everything gets shot to shit, so to speak. And that safety and security is completely gone, and yet at the same time, you turn around and do something incredibly strong with such strength. It's undeniable how strong you are. And I think, I truly believe it's you reminding yourself, hey, I am strong. I can do this. I can get through this.
Most definitely.
And there are some things that you're going to have to let go of. And that's what I think that whole thing means. Is the grieving, there's a part of a grieving side that comes with letting go of things that it's a lack of control. And if you don't have certain kinds of control in a person's life, then that can get out of hand. And but even things getting out of hand and lack of control, you're still strong. And that's what, to me, that's what this dream is talking about, is that you're still strong. You can do this.
Not
you
just
can
strong.
get through this.
Not just strong, but lighthearted too, because you know what?
Yeah.
There is only one person in this fucking world that can take a gun and one-handedly turn it into a pretzel, and it's fucking Bugs Bunny. She Bugs Bunny the shit out of that guy.
Oh, that's awesome.
Well, she's always, when we first got together, I was getting the superhero movies where, the Avengers had just come out the year before. And so I was giving her recommendations on stuff to watch with her boys. And I said, this is pretty safe. And, it's not no language or anything. So she remembered the Hulk from, we used to have the old Hulk TV show. So I said, you'll remember that character. So she loves the Hulk. So I'm like, well, that's you. I mean, he's all like, I'm good. I just I want to be left alone. I don't want people to mess with me, and yet they keep messing with me, and eventually something triggers her, and then she goes into full on mama bear mode. She has Hulk mode. So yeah. And she is when it came to her kids, now she's always made sure they were protected without thinking twice about herself. And she's, and sense of humor part of it and everything too. Yep. You couldn't be more spot on. Oh, that's definitely, y'all. You're all right. Yeah, exactly. That's everything about that. Everything you guys have said. That's her. And I'm constantly. She doubts herself all the time, and I'm sitting there going, "But you did this. You got on it. She lived on Lopez Island. She got on a ferry, then got on a bus, then got to the airport, got on a plane, flew to Texas for a guy that she'd just met a few months before and started talking to. Gets off the plane. We had the first night to get up the next morning, and chaos erupts, and we're going to have to go all the way back up here. Preceded by a week of, she gets to meet my parents out of the bus, so she had to do that. And then we drove for 2 weeks across the desert in a vehicle with no air conditioning. And flat the whole time. And I'm sitting
there. You went through the desert in the car with no AC.
Yeah. In the dead of summer. And we survived all of it without knowing where we were going to live at, mind you, when we got up here. So,
oh, dear.
And she did all of it. She just was the one going just on the street. So she just bounced along, and she was like, we'll be okay. Everything's going to be fine. I'll get some money.
I love how she says, too, like on Discord, she says no one can explain the boiled egg under the piano bench.
Nope.
I think that's interesting.
I have one explanation. That tells you that you are just crazy enough to be friends with me and Kayla.
I actually was going to say, when I did read that part, that like often in dreams you'll have like a childlike memory of like, this is fun, even though your adult mind would never do it, but a child's mind is being playful. So I think that, and they, she said that I think it was like the priest, right, who was laughing or something with her, like, this is a playful moment. Be happy in this moment that you have. It's like a blissful moment. That's my interpretation, Paula. So
Nice.
That's a good one.
Better than mine. I was just going to think she'd like some memory from her childhood that she just, it's in the memory bank, but it's buried under so much stuff from day to day to day. We all have,
Suppress good memories.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not just bad memories people suppress. There are good memories in there. Yeah. So, yeah.
Okay. Well,
I would
I'm
just
not-
view, like, honestly, like, if it was me, I would view the boiled egg as I'm really hungry and want an egg salad sandwich. Because, I'm not kidding,
Probably
I
would.
do associate those with church. Like,
Or maybe that. Maybe she's just hungry when she's dreaming.
like
Or maybe
name,
it represents Easter.
name someone who makes a better...
Play with things. Like as kids, we'd had hard-boiled eggs, or like the egg,
Like in spoon.
hard-boiled eggs. But have you ever done the egg spoon thing, where you have to carry the egg or whatever, and then
yeah, for sure.
Eggs? Made me think of that. Those childhood happy things, but you're still conscious of the egg, maybe like breaking the trauma in a way. So it could be both. She says I'm hungry a lot in my dreams. I think.
All right, I got one. It's okay. So this one, fuck. So okay, first I gotta start off with the fact that my dreams are not at all freaking normal. Okay, they are like these weird escapes. And anyways,
From different planets.
huh?
From different planets.
Maybe, I don't freaking know. So, in this particular dream, it opens like old school movie style. Okay? So, with like the big letters that come across the screen, and like where when you look at a TV from like way back in the day, it kind of did that shuddery thing. Where it's like, it has like weird music behind it. Okay? And it opens, and it has a title on the screen, and it says Gateway to Terror in like dark green. Okay?
So it's a happy dream.
And then underneath of it, like, you know how it like shows what the name of the like series is, and then it shows the name of the episode, like in the old ones? And then it says Nightmare in Dreamland, and it moves off. And then it's like from a first person point of view, so I'm looking out my eyes onto this, and it's like this landscape, and it's all in black and white, except for the color green. I can see the color green, but just like weird little hues of the color green every now and then. And the landscape that it opens up to reminds me of the movie The Labyrinth, mixed with like Alice in Wonderland and Nightmare Before Christmas. Like, it has that like twisty, windy, like crazy, but it's like a giant maze type thing. And I'm walking around in this land, and there is nothing there except for like dead blackberries and like all of that kind of crap. But then, like, just like in, like, Alice in Wonderland or Fantasia, the only things that are alive are, like, inanimate objects. So it's like, all of a sudden, a leaf will be like, "You're going the wrong way!" Right? And it's like, oh my god, what is happening? Okay? And I go through, like, this whole huge maze of just random shit, and I'm running around, and all of these things are telling me I'm going the wrong way. Or, look out for the beast, and, like, weird stuff like that, okay? And then I will wake up, and I'll be like, holy crap, that was weird. And I'll get up and I'll make a coffee, and then I'll wake up again, and I'll be like, holy crap, that was weird. And I'll get up and make a coffee, and this happens like 5 times, until I finally get up and I'm like, going off to my alarm and going, shit, dude, I'm late. Okay?
Oh, no.
So, that is my dream.
I think you've been watching way too much of these movies.
I don't, though. That's the thing. I don't watch, like, silent film movie.
Kayla watches documentaries.
I do watch a lot of documentaries. That is true.
Yes.
But they're not even cool
It
ones.
kind of is symbolic of you getting lost, like fear of getting lost along the way of life's path, don't you think?
Maybe.
I mean,
My
you can make
life's
your face
path is like
cheekers.
dancing leaves that tell me I'm wrong.
When Kayla was describing the other 3 movies that you described,
Yeah.
I literally heard The Wizard of Oz during the witch going. I'm really fast in my head. Really, really fast in my head. Somebody was being a smartass on the other
You know what?
side.
I got like
That's
the
fucking
world
hilarious.
on Labyrinth.
You know, the woman riding the bicycle with the witch.
That's
And
hilarious.
as funny as you were describing it, I saw the little worm. It's like, hello. And she's like, did you say hello? And then he's
No,
like,
I said
"No,
hello."
I said hello, but that's close enough. And I'm like, oh, wow, this is really weird.
Come in, meet the missus. Have a cup of tea.
Yeah. Yeah. She's like, sorry, I can't read now. I mean, when you said the leaf is talking to you, like, going the wrong way, that's what I thought of that worm.
Nikki, that was fucking hilarious because the other day we are on our way home and I called Kayla a evil witch. And I actually said witch. I said witch. Okay? And she said, I'm not evil. I'm the good witch until they drop a fucking house on me.
I love that.
Okay, so that explains the.
You're only a good witch after you've had your first coffee.
Well, I was thinking the only thing that you didn't describe is, like, the only movie you did not describe of that lostness, of the fear of, like, what, you know, like, yeah, trust, reality, that kind of thing of being lost along the way is Wizard of Oz. Because she's lost. That's the ultimate one, is, like, she's lost. The other people were trying to get to a destination in a way, but really kind of Alice. But her destination was to get to the bunny, right? She just was so curious. Curiosity got the best of her. And that kind of thing. So she got lost in this other world because she followed something. But the only one you didn't mention was Wizard of Oz. So it's kind of funny.
Right? But it's like the only one everybody thought of. Hey!
Yeah. I have to say, that would annoy me about, like, being late later, because you're like, now I was stuck in this, like, land I couldn't get out of, and now I'm really irritated because I woke up a few times thinking I'm out. And then you wake up to real reality, you're late. That would tick me off.
Right? Well, and I think maybe that's why it was like Alice in Wonderlandy, because it was like yelling at me, "You're late! You're late!" It's like, get up! Like,
You're going the wrong
God,
way.
exactly.
Okay, I'm going to tell you guys something, though. Here's the thing.
I love it.
She never made... Okay, she only makes the coffee once. And she doesn't actually make the fucking coffee. She just gets her cup of coffee.
I get my cup
But,
of coffee, yes.
Every time she talked about this, she actually did wake up all those times.
Oh God,
Because
really?
Oh.
in the morning it takes me about half an hour to wake her up. So every 5 minutes I will tell her to get up, and she responds. She talks to me for a second, and then she goes back to sleep.
Yep.
Oh, my daughter does that. Yeah.
I have to set 5 alarms.
I think I have like 17 alarms, and then Cole has like 5, and then he wakes me up.
I am so lucky that I have one alarm, it goes off, and I'm up. I'm just always getting up. My husband goes through like 3 alarms, and I'm poking him like, get the hell out of bed. You're waking me up, and now I'm going to kill you because you made me mad. Don't wake me up. I get very, very
Yeah, no, I'm the same way. Like, I tell Kayla we got to be up at 5:30, and she sets an alarm for 5:50, and I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like,
That's what my husband does.
I never did understand how that works exactly. I understand the concept. I just don't. Snooze alarm. I can't do snooze alarm. I go back to. It doesn't work. I just ignore it. I just keep clenching it.
I have to turn that feature off on my phone.
I just have
Well,
to
if I hit it
myself.
once, I will feel, if I go back to sleep, I will feel really nasty when I get up. Like just miserable, yucky.
Yep.
It's not good. So I just don't, I never hit it.
I usually am up by the second one because the first alarm takes my brain a while to go, okay, you need to actually move. And it's the second alarm that actually truly wakes me up. And that's only 2 minutes out. So I always make sure that I'm doing 2-minute alarms or 1-minute alarms. And it's annoying enough to where if I'm really exhausted the night before, then I will probably go through all 5 alarms. But typically I'm up by the second one. I'm literally swinging the legs over the bed just before the alarm goes off. Usually.
Then I have things like this. Like this morning, I'd set the alarm for like 10 minutes noon because we were up late last night, and I intended to go down to see Willie to go grocery shopping, but Paula, I swear Paula woke me up this morning, and so I'm like, okay, I get up and I look and I grab the phone and I look at the time, I look at the clock, and I'm like, wait a minute, it's 9:30. And I look over and I'm like, why did you wake me up so early? And she goes, I didn't wake you up. What are you talking about? Just as she said, the phone rang. And I'm like, I don't remember a phone ringing. and to make matters worse, I didn't even need to be up because my mom had intended to text me. My dad had a minor procedure at the hospital today, and she was just letting me know what had happened. But she had intended to text me. She accidentally called me. And so I didn't even need to be awake in the first place. So now I'm up. I've got like 4 hours of sleep. And I'm like, ah. So poor Paula's like, I didn't do anything. I don't know why you're aggravated at me. I'm like, because you woke me up. I'm like, no, I didn't. So, anyway.
Kayla, I like your dream.
And so Paula's asking me, she was serious about the leaf and wondered if it was a Canadian maple leaf, maybe like symbolizing coal or something. And the answer is no. It was a giant rhubarb leaf. Okay.
Rhubarb?
What a rhubarb leaf looks like.
That's weird.
So who the fuck does that represent then, huh?
I don't know, man.
Rhubarb leaves are poisonous.
Oh,
The
absolutely.
stalks are not, but the leaves are.
Oh, wow.
So a poisonous leaf told me I'm going the wrong way. That's scary.
That doesn't mean they're not edible.
Maybe that's why it was the only thing that was green.
Question.
Okay.
Did you eat a lot of rhubarb pie, like when you were a kid? And
so, actually...
Do you want me to tell this part since I was the one to clean them all out?
No. But when I was a little kid, like, I grew up with my grandparents, and they had, like, rows and rows of rhubarb. And then they would take all of the stalks and they'd grind them up and they'd can them all and then make, like, rhubarb pie and rhubarb jams and stuff like that throughout the year. And that's actually one of the only plants I still have that's a generational plant that got passed down to me from them. But we would swim in rhubarb when we were little kids. We would go and we would just, like, go down the field, and it would piss off my grandparents so much, but we'd, like, go swimming through the field of rhubarb.
He's that in the raspberry fields.
Right?
so then it represents trust. Like, you were trusting it that you were going the wrong way. So when it tells you that you're going the wrong way, you believed it.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. I mean, because, yeah, like, rhubarb, I mean, I think that I wouldn't even recognize a rhubarb leaf if I passed it. You know, so...
Well, I also used to...
Huge.
We used to grab the rhubarb leaves, too, and we would cast them and make stone castings of them so that we could use them for different pieces of yard art and, like, different little walking stones and stuff.
That's cool.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it was definitely a trust thing. Like you trusted it when it said you're going the wrong way, and then that freaked you probably out because you were going the wrong way and you didn't know the way.
Right? I'm like, oh no, Mr. Rhubarb, I got you.
You know what's insane? It's insane how much Kayla's family loves canning. Because
we can everything. We
like,
can everything.
The jar. Some of these jars were from before Kayla's mom was born, which is 1955, 58, 1958. I pulled 2 of these cans out of that cellar, and 2 years ago, Kayla's mom made a pie out of them.
Well, they were still fine.
No, they weren't. That was gross.
They absolutely were.
You didn't eat that pie.
One.
I tried
yes,
it.
the jars still exist. We had a canning room, where all of the jars, once we canned them, we'd put them in the canning room, and there were, it was gigantic room, just full of jars of all different types of canned vegetables, canned fruit, canned everything.
Even though they gave up most of the land in, the 50s, 60s?
Yeah.
They were still farmers at heart.
Yeah. Well, they didn't really have a choice to give up their land. It was taken by the school district to build a school.
Yeah.
Kind of how I grew up. In some sections, I had different family members doing that very thing.
Yeah, we lived like hella old school when I was a kid. Like, I know how to do a lot of stuff because my grandparents were like old school farmers. Like, I mean, they were born in 1908 and 1904.
Yep, that's my grandparents and great aunts and uncles, and they were the ones in Mount Vernon, or I should say in Skagit Valley, who were doing a lot of canning. Mm-hmm. So I grew up around a lot of that. I totally understand.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
That was poisonous. That's crazy.
Yeah, the great big green leaves are, which is interesting because I guess I'd forgotten about it. And I just found that out again, or got reminded of it, as I guess I should say, like within the last week and a half, something like that. But yet I remember it from my childhood, from my grandmother before she died, telling me, now Nicole, because she's the only one who could get away with calling. Well, there's only a couple of people now, but she's like, now Nicole, you cannot eat these leaves. And she goes, you'd only be able to touch and eat the red part.
And it's why really? On the farm, you would take, when you cut the rhubarb off for in the fall, you take the leaves, cut them off, and then you use those to cover the root.
Yeah,
because the deer will go they will go for the root otherwise. Mm-hmm. They will eat that root. If they're covered with the leaves, they don't touch them.
Well, like we did gunnera plants.
Yeah,
too,
gunnera, we did that,
which is like a larger form of a rhubarb. It's in the rhubarb family.
How about we call it what it is? It is the fucking Statue of Liberty of rhubarb.
Yes.
But which rodent did you say? I missed the rodent.
The deer.
Oh, the deer.
Yeah, deer will eat those. They'll eat those roots like crazy.
Yeah, I knew that they ate, but I didn't realize. I thought you were talking rodents. Okay.
I think I was probably 7 years old. My brother would have been about 10 when we went out to the farm at Grandma and Grandpa's, and we started playing with the rhubarb leaves. Just playing with them. We weren't eating them or anything, just playing with them. We didn't realize that Grandma had already put them over the roots. The deer came and ate a row of rhubarb, and she lost all of them. Oops. Oops. But Grandma, sweet as ever, she just told us why we did that, like why it was bad. And then she said, but I still love you, it's okay.
That's totally your grandma.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Then Dad got a hold of us and kicked her ass. But
I'm being told that it's dream time, so I was the only one that have not gone yet.
Yes, it is your time. Do you have one?
Mine is really strange, I guess I should say, but you guys have now after, Kayla's, I'm like, okay, man, I'm good. Not saying like an age or anything. This is going to be. I actually have like two of them that I can kind of do probably quick, but I was basically like in the dream. I'm like a little girl, and we're like in this. The only thing I can describe is this like kind of like we're underground. We're in a cave, and it is like my parents, and then myself and my sister and brother. Now my other little brother is not there yet, but like he's not alive in this dream. So it is us, and there's two pools in this huge cave. Like it doesn't really look like really a cave. It looks like we're just like it just looks like dirt is all over the walls, and we're underground. And there's two pools, and there's a huge there's a divider basically of between the pools. Like that's just a very thin. Kind of like in a way, a balance beam, kind of like that's how thin it was, of a wall that divides the pools. And on one side there's quicksand, and on the other side it is like a healthy, huge, like Olympic size like pool. And we're swimming in with a bunch of people. Like there's a ton of people in this, just not just our family. But I get up and I start to walk the wall. My father yells at me to get down, and then I fall into the quicksand and starting to like basically drown, suffocate. And I can't remember if he tries to get to me or not. And I always wake up, or I wake up when I'm starting to fall into it. So this is something that I have had reoccurring for a long time. Like I will say like several years. Huh. And then there's another one which is interesting, but only kind of like I said, like a little quicker. And every time I move like places, locations, like if I move homes, the dream changes with the house or where I'm living, apartment. But basically like the Jurassic Park dream where it's always like it starts like where my cup will start moving, like the boom, the water, and it's just like the movie. And then I hear something trying to get into the door, but it can't open the door. And there's like little like three raptors on the other side, but they can't get into the door because they can't use the door like handle is like different, so they can't figure out the doorknob. And then all of a sudden, like, the roof gets ripped off of my house. And then it's a huge T-Rex, and it comes down to try to eat us. Now, the one was really horrible when it ate my dog, my collie, and I heard the bones crunch in my collie. That was really wretched. And I always wake up when the T-Rex tears off the roof. And the only time, it's only done that once where it ate my collie, and then after that, I usually wake up. Those are my two dreams.
Oh.
Interesting.
Well, the T-Rex and the raptors and everything, I mean, I'm guessing you went to see Jurassic Park at the theater, right?
Yeah.
So, was this was after you'd already gone to see it? I'm trying to. Did you have dreams before you'd seen that? So like.
No. No.
Well, yeah. The interpretation part of it. That's easy. That's the tricky. Because you could have just had some bad pizza, but if you keep having it. So,
yeah, in every location, it would change with the location.
Huh.
Now, did that movie happen to terrify you as a child?
I mean, pretty much. I went. The funny thing is, our first date, my husband and I, our first date was Jurassic Park 2, and I only went so I could basically jump on him. So, I could actually get him to interact because he was so extremely shy. So I figured that, if I'm terrified, because this is going to terrify me, then he actually would start talking a little bit more, and he did. That worked.
Well, there you go. I would, and I'm not a dream expert, but the roof coming off, and you're moved to different locations could just be that the insecurity of starting new at anything is always
Yeah.
We're going through that now, as a matter of fact, because we're even though we're going to live next to, we're going to live on Cole and Kayla's property. We're going to be happier because we're not going to have a psychopath, sorry, but for a landlord. But that being said,
well, it's scary to move no matter what. It's something different.
The principle of moving is scary because you change your life. You've got a routine. You've got, I'm used to this place. I'm used to this route to work, or I'm used to this route to get the kids to school, or I'm used to this route to, this is a grocery store I go to, and then all of a sudden it's like, so.
And I will say, I think that I lived at these properties for a few months in, probably for sure, until it started to happen again. The last time it happened, I will say it's never happened here. This house, it's never happened at this house. But my last house, I would have it a few times. Sometimes I would have it a few times a year, but it didn't start until pretty much a year and a half, maybe 2 in.
Well, maybe that's also your way of your dreams telling you that house isn't for you.
That's
that
funny.
You should move on to a new one, and then maybe you found the house that you're supposed to be at, so it just doesn't appear anymore,
That is funny because, I'm always afraid, that I'm going to have it here, and I've never had it here. But I always say this house is my sanctuary. I'm very protected in spirits and have the angels watching me. So, this is the first secure place that I have ever lived in. So I thought maybe I'm having a dream because I'm fearing of losing what I have. But that is a good point that you make. So, yeah.
Ripping a roof off a house in a dream usually means a form of safety and security that is being removed in someone's life in some fashion or form. And the one with water in a dream always equals emotion. And drowning in a dream.
That dream. Okay, yeah.
And drowning in a dream is, and usually from my experience dealing with a lot of other people, including myself, usually, I don't have drowning dreams very often, but usually it's about it goes right back to control again. It's what we can't control in our own lives and how we're dealing with it emotionally. It's suffocation. It's being suffocated by whatever is going on at that given moment in time. And
which is
usually go away.
Which is in contrast, too, because you also dreamed about this all being inside of a cave, where cave dreams and underground dreams and dark place dreams usually represent, the womb, a safe space, that kind of thing. So having that happen in a safe space is also interesting.
Yeah. It's so water is emotion, snakes are sexual, swings mean something else. There's so many houses, buildings, depends on, there's so many different levels of dream interpretation that, even in psychology, dream interpretation is very subjective.
Yeah.
When you just said snakes are sexual, do you guys remember the Robin Hood cartoon?
Oh God, yeah.
Forget, all I could imagine was the snake from that just being like, "Hey, sexy."
See, and my mind went somewhere totally different because when she said snakes were sexual and swings represent, all I could imagine was swinging on a snake and being like, "Woo-hoo! I'm a swinger." No,
Are you now?
That's what came into my mind. I don't know why.
Well, I know swingers.
Rosella, Paula says she relates to you so much. Her therapist told her that recurring dreams may indicate an anxiety disorder or unresolved trauma. She asked, "Do you feel this is true?"
Yeah, I mean, I definitely. So I'll start with. So I was young. It started when I was 4 years old, and my parents actually did divorce. When I was about 9, my father left, so it was like a 2-year battle of the divorce, and it was very horrible. And back then, like in 1980s, like at this time, like people still were not middle class people, especially too, like, you know, they were really an up and rising couple, and everybody thought that they were great. And then nobody knew like what was going on in the home, that kind of thing. And then we were just all torn apart, and our family's never been the same. So, like, and which brings me to, like, yeah, forgiving is not easy thing for me to do. But I think, too, my father telling me to get off the wall probably, like, scared the crap out of me because he never really was a nice person. So it was like he yells at me and then I fall and then I die. So it does make all of it makes a lot of sense. It was a horrible thing, though, because I would react to it so badly that I would start to, like, go into a panic attack, actually, in my dream, and that's what woke me up, usually. So it was not good. And I had the dream for many, many years, and I cannot remember when I kind of stopped having a dream, but I think that, like, into my adulthood, I wasn't. And then it was replaced by this dinosaur dream.
Okay.
But all comes back to, like, yeah, trust and security because of my parents. But yeah, those are the reoccurring ones that I really remember happening a lot. Now it's funny because, you know, was it Rick? Were you the one who said that you meet these strangers, you know, like in your dreams, you're interacting, having jobs with them, but they're people you don't really know. I'll have that kind of stuff a lot. It's like now where I'm like, what is this? And then, like, things will come to me with my gifts of, I'll dream about like one girl was like, it was like a key. She had a necklace that was like an old fashioned key. And then the next day she came for a reading and she was at my doorstep and I'm like, that was what that was, because the key was talking to me and it was the spirit talking to me through this symbolic key. Mm-hmm. So that's funny, like, you know, when Rick was saying that, I'm like, this is like, maybe that's what that is. You're seeing someone else's life, and then that trust and insecurity about your life and those betrayal that you kind of feel with those people moving out, you know, is like meshing. So it's hard to interpret these things as you kind of get older. But I mean, when I'm gifted to, I'm like, who's that? Was that me? Or is that someone else?
To be honest, I'm good with it. It's just the work part is the annoying part. Like I don't work now. I'm retired, and I don't want to go back to work. And so it's like, and I'm like, and I'm like working, and I'm like, but then, I'll take those dreams all day long. When the thing is, the television part, for years, I'm talking. I quit television in 2007. I was still having, on a like bi-monthly basis, the nightmare where, like, you guys sitting at home, you're watching TV back in the old days when there would be a broadcast signal. It's not like now everything's digital and it just goes to black.
Yeah.
Well, it would go to static. And, you know,
Static, yeah.
back today, and you just see, like, what happened to my signal? Where's it? So for a guy, that was what I did. I ran the commercials. I was responsible for making sure that all the times were no commercials aired and making sure the shows stayed on the air. And it was the worst feeling is when all of a sudden everything, the equipment would break and you're just on static. And it's like, so I'd have these nightmares. of being on static, and it's the dumbest thing. And you wake up and like I was having Jason Voorhees chase me, or like Friday the 13th, or Freddy Krueger or something chase me. No, I had those. Those were my worst nightmares, and it took years. I still get them like once a year, and I haven't worked in television forever. So yeah, I'll definitely take living somebody else's life over that. It's inherently stupid. It's not a real fear.
There's two things I want to say before we end, because we're coming real close to the end. 4 minutes. So regarding dreams, ET abductees will have dreams or partial dreams of what has happened to them on an ET ship. There are also controlled, so that's one topic. Then there are also controlled dreams that government can do with people. And you can have a controlled dream by somebody else. Now, here's something. Here's a third subject in that. There are certain psychics that can go into your dream, so you can be across the. I actually had a guy do this. It's something that I don't think I've told anybody about. And I went and I searched for this guy's name and his business, and sure as shit, he was real.
Yeah, you told me.
Did I tell you this? I couldn't remember. I didn't think I did.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a situation to where they can find you and enter into your dream, and you can, if you remember their first name and their last name and the business, you can find them. So
there are to do. I mean, when you're dreaming,
right, kind of like an Inception type thing, like where they just kind of come in. Yeah,
it is an Inception type thing. So, and that's what the government does. Government is really good when they're trying to hunt bastards. But anyway, that's a whole nother game. But yeah, there are things that regarding dreams. There's so many different. Not only lucid dreaming that you can do for yourself, but of course there's also spirits that can come into your loved ones that can come into your dreams. Same here. And all of that means different things. So just, when you're looking at dream interpretations, remember, if you're dreaming about a loved one who's deceased, 8-9 times out of 10, you're looking at the spirit actually in your dream, trying to give you a message while you sleep, because it's ease of access for them,
right?
For you to get to you. So, just an FYI, folks.
The other thing that I will leave us on too is the best person to interpret your dreams is always yourself. Because you know what symbols have meanings to you and everything else. So never let somebody else tell you that this is based off of a trauma, or this is based off of this, or this is based off of that. When, if that's not how you feel about it, then it's not necessarily true just because it's true for certain other people.
Right. I always say listen, but you're the only person who has the real experience and knowledge, so it's for you to judge. Yeah.
Run it up your inner flagpole and see which way it salutes.
Exactly.
I like that.
Exactly.
All right, guys, I just got to say, this was freaking amazing. 2 hours, and we actually stayed on topic.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
And we only brought up sex once, and it was about a snake. What?
I'm still confused how that works. But
no jokes really went further.
like, does it just go straight in, or I don't know? I'm confused, friend. But
Never mind.
so, one thing I did want to mention. One thing I did want to mention, to all the people up north that are currently having issues, my thoughts and prayers are with you, friend. There's probably there's 4 cities that have been evacuated.
Yeah, because of the fires.
Yeah. And that's just the cities. There's also 5 tribes have been evacuated from their homes as well. Yeah, so I'm praying for rain, guys. And hopefully it'll come to you. It does lead into our topic a little bit next week, kind of. Our topic next week, we are going to do Our Sun is Trying to Kill Us in the Paranormal Ways Humans Are Trying to Stop It.
Okay.
Okay.
The actual sun.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, okay. All right. I was like, wait a minute. Is that why John's not on the show tonight? No.
He's duct taped in his room.
Okay, so this is like the solar flare stuff and everything. Okay,
Right.
I got you.
Okay.
Okay.
Now I understand. I'm like, what?
We're going to talk about some of the paranormal projects they have going on within our government to try and prevent the sun from taking us the fuck out like it's trying to. Friend, so...
We just need a big magnet to push the magnetic storm the other way, so that it...
yeah, I'm sure that'll be great for your headaches.
Yeah, I can get it from Acme Inc.
Call NASA. You can call NASA and tell them your idea. I'm for it.
Absolutely.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for listening. We will be back with you next Wednesday, 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Thank you, Nikki, Rosella, Rick, Paula, Robert, Kayla. Thank you guys all for being on the show. You guys rock. We love you all, and we will see you next week. We're going back in the fucking bunker where it's safe.
Gotta get away from all these UV rays, you know?
Yeah, Kayla's allergic to this shit. She can't be out here for that long.
Hey, don't tell my secrets.
All right, good night, everybody.
Bye.
Nice.
Data transfer complete. System malfunction. Please evacuate immediately. Program terminated.
Son of a biscuit eater.